it's a bit of a banking day today. Sharmila Joshi likes DCB Bank from an investment perspective. Hadrian likes South Indian Bank, not just from a day trading perspective, but probably from a mid-term trading perspective. And the NBFCs are on a bit of a roll today with the likes of Edelweiss and Diwan Housing. But that's not all, Navneet. I think the key highlight is that the large caps, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, are ending the day in the green. Surprise, surprise.
That's right, Neeraj. Off day's low closing coming up there for the markets after 5 straight sessions where we've seen negative closing. Though in the red, Nifty down 17 points. But remember, it recovered almost 40 to 45 points in the intraday session. These volatile moves are coming because this is the expiry week. Sensex also closing the day down by 80 points. But Bank Nifty 24,000 acted as a very huge support level. It went very close to those levels, but once again there was some buying which came up for Bank Nifty. But the broader markets actually stood out. The Nifty Mid-Cap Free Float Index ended the day with gains of almost 0.5%, and the Small Cap Index recovered today, so 1% gains coming up there. And the Nifty Small Cap 100 Free Float Index also saw a good amount of gains in today's session. Well, the advance decline ratio was also in favor of the advances today. But let's quickly take a look at a couple of gainers in terms of Sensex constituents. In terms of your top gainer, your upstream company ONGC gained almost 3.5%. Tata Steel was the other gainer. Axis Bank, Coal India, and the heavyweight ICICI Bank was ending the day in the green. And also stocks like Tata Motors, Hero Moto, Infi ended the day in the green. On the losing side, HUL, the management today indicated that the rural demand have not revived at all. So HUL down about 2.5%. Asian Paints, Dr. Reddy's, TCS, M&M, Maruti were a couple of counters which are closing in the red today, Neeraj.
Well, the broader end of the spectrum was punctuated by strong gains, Navneet. So the mid-cap and the small-cap end of the market was extremely active. But look at some individual names. So Avenue Supermarts, well, not surprised at all on Goldman Sachs conviction list, and that remains, to my mind, the stock of the day along with ONGC. Now up just about 7%, so maybe the time of consolidation after this big 17% move that we saw. What else? I think because of the oil spike and otherwise a bunch of stocks which were active. So Deep Industries, Ceylon Exploration, Aban Offshore, all of these had a fabulous move in the session today. Aban was probably on the volume front the principal mover, but the other two also participated in the session. So good going there, both on the price and volume front for all of these oil exploration companies. Couple of other stocks that stood out. Bharat Forge hitting fresh life highs. I think it's a recommendation, a consensus recommendation from all our experts, at least both our experts, Hadrian as well as Mukesh. So watch out for that one, hitting fresh life highs in the session today. And other NBFCs included Edelweiss as well as Diwan Housing Finance, both of which had a fabulous move in the session. Adani Transmission, of course, I must just point out that one stock before I hand it over to Pradeep. I don't know whether it's as a result of the power push or otherwise, but this one, the sole ranger of sorts, which has gone up post yesterday's announcements, up 5% in trade today.
A powerful stock in trade, Neeraj, and if you look at the index, I think Nifty and mid-cap we should pull up first of all the intraday trade, and there are 2 points I would like to make on Nifty as well as the mid-cap. Nifty, if you look at the kind of recovery we have seen, in first hour or 2 hours of trade, Nifty retested 9800 level or near about, more or less the yesterday's low, and 9800 has kind of turned out to be a very strong support level for Nifty. So that is one. Second, if you look at the recovery in Nifty, Nifty managed to move into the green only towards the end of today's session. But if you look at the Nifty mid-cap, ever since we actually opened positive, and most of the time, if you look at, except for a few minutes, twice or thrice we saw the mid cap slipping into red. So the leadership actually came from mid cap and small cap, and after that, I think towards the end of the session in last hour, the heavyweights really followed. If you look at some of the contributors that managed to drive Nifty up, we have Vedanta and we have ONGC, so 2 commodity stocks, and we had Axis Bank and ICICI Bank. Banking and metal, not so much of oil, but banking and metal were 2 sectors that were beaten down. So that is where the buying actually surfaced today, while HDFC was, however, an exception in this segment if you look at it. If you look at the market breadth, it remained positive through the day, and we ended very close to the day's best equation, so to say. So that again gives you a confidence that probably market has made a bottom, and we'll see a good expiry going forward. Just 2 days to go for expiry this week. And now if you look at the mid cap, the overall heat map of index stocks, this is kind of marginally tilted towards gainers and losers. So far as the mid cap or small cap is concerned, I think buying interest is visible. It's very clear. But when it comes to the heavyweights, the equation is not so clear, and you had so many significant losers, and you had heavyweights like HUL, Dr. Reddy's, TCS, M&M, where we saw a lot of selling. So to say, it looks like that probably there is more steam in mid cap than large cap, and if the index moves up by say 150 or 100 points from here, there could be further selling pressure at higher levels.
So that, Pradeep, quickly, final thoughts from both our experts before I let them go. Adrian, you'd go long tomorrow if the markets start off flattish or marginally higher?
Yeah, definitely, because we've seen a sell-off in the past 5 days, and it's when we say buy on decline, so there are a lot of people who ask me, what is buy on decline? When are we supposed to buy? So I think this is the right time where you see, a 5-day flat 350-400 point sell-off, and you play the bounce back. So this is the time where you can actually enter and you can actually go long.
You bullish, Sharmila, in the near term?
Well, I think the expiry is going to be interesting, because my view has been that if you see expiry closer to 10,000, then I think we can expect the October series to pan out quite well.
By Diwali?
By Diwali, you could possibly see a new high. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So I think, for me, the next 2 days are very important from that perspective. But I completely agree. I think this is the dip that has to be bought. And, I've already started buying a little, some of the stocks, same basket, but at lower prices, sort of doing that SIP. So that has already begun, and let's hope that this is also one of those dips that can be bought into.
Well, thanks a lot for that, Sharmila, as well as Hadrian, for joining us today on Countdown on Bloomberg Quint. Really appreciate